Good afternoon from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks. And today I'm doing another this and that video. So basically I'm just commenting on the comments that I've gotten. And I have not responded to my comments in probably close to 2 months. So I spent quite a bit of time this morning reading through the comments and replying to quite a few. And I just want to say thank you. There were quite a few really complimentary comments, and I really appreciate those. I do these videos in my shop all by myself, and I'm just talking to a camera. And some days I feel like an idiot doing this. So it's nice to know that people are watching the videos, enjoying them, and getting some useful information out of them. Today I'm just going to take some of the older things that have come up in the comments and answer some of the questions that I've had. The first one is really long, so I'm just going to answer the first part of this because he goes into detail and I think I have an idea what he's talking about, but here is the question. Do you come often across that the system thinks that an order will fit into a shipping method, but it doesn't fit, especially when there are a lot of parts? And then he goes into detail describing what he's talking about. And I think if I'm understanding him correct, it probably has a lot to do with the instant checkout. If you don't have the instant checkout set up quite right, then a lot of times it will charge the buyer a lower charge than what you end up having to pay. And luckily, I have not had this happen very often. It's happened a couple of times where by the time I got all the parts pulled, got them packaged, and got everything into the envelope or box, yeah, it ended up weighing more than what the instant checkout had given them. And luckily for me, it's far and few between, so I don't stress out about it. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but I have an issue with manuals. For some reason, the instant checkout wants to put them in a large priority box. I'm not sure why that is. I have mine set up that anything over the 16 ounces goes to manual invoice. That way I can check to see to make sure that it really is going to end up in a priority box, or see if I might be able to give them a cheaper shipping rate. I love instant checkout, but there are times when it doesn't work quite the way I want it to, and I almost wish we could go back to manual. But at the same time, since we've gone to instant checkout, I have not had any non-paying buyers. So for this next one, I meant to do a little bit of research and I didn't, but I'm going to leave it up to you to maybe educate me a little bit, so put a comment below. But here is the question. Have you considered getting accounting scales? It would help with sorting and uploading the bulk used, I would think. I'm assuming here that he's talking about a very precise scale. I have considered this for the smaller parts like Technic pins and maybe the little round plates, the smaller tiles, that sort of thing. That way I wouldn't have to count 50 to 100 or whatever, but I have not actually used one. I'm curious if there's anybody out there who has used a counting scale, if you still use it, and what some of the pros and cons are. So if you are using one, please put something in the comments, and I think I'm going to do a little bit more research on this and see if I can't make a more informed decision on whether or not it's something I want to invest in. But it was a really good suggestion, especially for those smaller parts, because I think we've all been there. Counting out 200-300 of those Technic pins gets a little old after a while. Okay, this next one, I'm really hoping that the person who commented on this will reply to the comment I left, because I'm generally curious as to what he meant by this, and I think I kind of understand what he's saying, but I'm not too sure. But here is the comment that was left. If I listed my parts at the 6-month average, I would get 40 to 50 orders a day. I think saying to list your prices at the 6-month average is the worst thing you can do. I'm a little confused by this, because if I got 40 to 50 orders a day on my 6-month average, I would be thrilled because I would be selling the parts. But I'm curious as if what he meant was if you go a little bit higher, you'll have less orders, but you'll have a greater profit margin on the parts. I'm guessing that's what he means. That's why I'm really hoping he replies, because I am curious as to what he meant by this, because I think there's a little bit more of a backstory to this that I'm missing. So if you're the one that wrote this, please reply, because I am curious as to what you meant by that. Okay, so a couple of these are just ones that I want to just throw in here. I'm going to end up doing this and that video probably the next 2 or 3 weeks, just because there were some really good questions that were put into my comments. And this one kind of made me smile, but I understand why they asked it. They said, "Do you live in Montana?" And yes, I do live in Montana, which is why I always start my videos with "Hi from Big Sky Country," because that's the state motto, more or less. And I am going to start including on my vlog videos, when I transition from day to day, I'm going to start including pictures that I have taken over the years of various hiking and camping trips we've taken, so that I can share how beautiful Montana is with everybody else. And this also brought up a good point, because I was responding to some videos and I had somebody from Austria who had left a comment, somebody from Russia. I think my first question, the person was from Switzerland. And I find it so exciting that my video is seen worldwide, because I have not traveled a lot. I am pretty much a homebody. I have not been out of the US other than being born in Canada. I have not been out of the US. And so I kind of think of everything in the terms of US. And I think it's really exciting when people comment and they're from another country. So what I would like very much is, if you are from another country, or if you're from Montana, not from Montana, I would love to hear where you're from. Just a state or country is fine. That's all I need. I am curious as to where everybody is from that is watching my videos. And like I said, I really appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch my videos, and even more so when you take the time to comment. I watch it. The next one I thought was kind of interesting, just because I hadn't thought of it in these terms. He's asking, "How has your store been doing so far this month? Since the hurricane, my store has been dead. Maybe customers are avoiding Florida stores, fearing their orders will be delayed." I hadn't even thought of that, but I'm sure that's probably happened to a lot of the Florida stores, that once people started hearing about the hurricane, they were not probably interested in ordering from a Florida store until things had passed. I never think of it in the terms of how this will affect somebody's Bricklink store in those areas. My heart goes out to everybody who has been affected by these natural disasters. There's a little bit of extra sympathy for those that have the Bricklink stores, especially those of you that use that as your income. As for me personally, October is no better than August and September. I still don't know what's going on. At least now I'm getting a few more orders. I'm still getting about 1 a day, 1 or 2 a day, but I feel like they're coming in more regularly now, but they're all small orders, so there's not a whole lot of turnover in parts going on in my store. I'm really hoping now that fall's here and I'm more focused on inventory, I can start adding more to my store, and at some point hopefully I will have enough parts of the right parts that people will come into my store and actually start purchasing. Because if my sales pick up, then I can start ordering from other stores. So I need my sales to pick up before I can start ordering. It's kind of this vicious cycle here. So this last one is from someone who has commented on quite a few of my videos, and I do appreciate that. And the way he wrote this I thought was really good advice. And this was off of a video I did, a food for thought video about the Bricklink buyers and sellers group on Facebook. There was a buyer that called out a seller by name on Facebook, which should never be done. It's just not very professional. And I did a whole video on that and trying to see both sides of the story. His advice is just spot on, and so I really want to read this comment that he left. "Great video. It amazes me how people react to any type of issue that doesn't go their way. First of all, you're dealing with Lego. It is a toy that sells for pennies most of the time. Rule number 1, don't sell crap, but if you do, be honest about the crap you sell. It's going to cost you more in the long run to correct it. Rule number 2, be kind to buyers even if they are not kind to you. Life is too short to squabble over petty things. Rule number 3, buyers, if you don't like what you get and the seller doesn't correct the mistake, leave the appropriate feedback and never buy from that store again. Move on. Rule number 4, people are going to be people. Just do the best peopling you can do. And I absolutely love this. So thank you, Christopher, for posting that. In fact, I think I might actually cut that out and tape it somewhere in my store because it's good advice all around, not only for the store, but just being a better person in general. So it was great advice. That's my video for today. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.